tell me how you feel. I don't know how I feel. Give me opportunity to think about what I feel. Hi, my name is Colleen Theophil, and this is Live a Life You Love, the podcast. I am your emotional intelligence coach, and my job here on this podcast is to help you go from simply surviving to thriving by teaching you how to manage your emotions and thoughts and using that information to now create momentum in your life. We are continuing in with what's the problem? Conflict resolution. And we've spoken on a wide range of topics, and today we want to get to the heart of the matter. Bacchanal start. The conflict hot. Things are problematic. You're sweating and you want to know in the middle of this where I have to either fight or flight, what do I do to manage my emotions? That is what we want to talk about today. How do you manage your emotions when you are in the thick of things? When the things are becoming difficult for you to address, when you want to know what to do because everything around you feels like it is closing in with this situation. How do you manage your emotions in the middle of that? And so, very quick, very to the point, let's get into some very simple things that will help you to manage your emotions in the middle of conflict resolution or wanting to lead to conflict resolution. That first thing is simply understanding what management strategies work for you. Now, when I say management strategies, what is it within that moment that is going to help you to calm down and regain control of what is going on around you? Now, I always say those strategies need to fit your personality. I always say there isn't one size fits all. Something that could work for me may not work for my husband. So we have to know what works for either one of us in order to be able to manage properly. But there are some basic principles under those management strategies that, of course, I want you to remember. And that is something as simply as understanding what your body is doing while you're in the middle of a conflict. One of the things that I want you to learn to do was when you're in an aggravated situation or a high stress situation, take the opportunity to still yourself and really feel where you are feeling your emotions. What do I mean by that? So for me, whenever I'm anxious, I feel it in my neck and my shoulders. Whenever I'm angry, I feel heat all over my body. Whenever I am scared, I feel it in the pit of my stomach. But you have to know that because those things will let you know what exactly you're feeling. So you have to be able to be so in tune to your body and how your body responds to stress, how your body responds to emotion. The reason this is important is when you connect what you're feeling with what your body feels, you are going to be forced to want to do a solution. So, for example, when I'm in a situation where I am anxious or something and I feel that tightness in my neck is so uncomfortable that I want it resolved. And that's exactly what you need to do. Sometimes people feel anxiety and instead of addressing it, they just allow it to have free range on your body. And that becomes dangerous because we know what goes on in here affects what goes on here. So the strategy in this is taking a step back and figure out where you feel what you feel in your body and being able to properly name it. Where do you feel anger in your body and how does your body respond to anger? And so the basic principle is taking time to figure out how you respond, how your body responds or experiences emotion. Sometimes people respond by shaking and uncontrollably. It's important to know what triggers that. So the reason why you have to come and become um in tune to your body is so that you know know what triggers you and then know, all right, so this is the problem. How am I going to respond to it? How am I going to resolve it? So that is the first thing that I want you to consider. Make sure that you are in tune to your body. The second thing to understand is that you need to find something called anchors. Now, anchors simply mean exactly what the word is. An anchor is dropped to the bottom of a boat to help it stay steady. What would it take for you to become steady in an emotionally charged or highly emotionally charged situation? So, of course, we know that there are lots of conversations about breathwork going on. I am no breathwork specialist, but something as simply taking a breath in the moment to steady yourself is important. You remember, I started by saying you have to do things that suit who you are. So, for somebody, a breath wouldn't work because it will come out raggedy. So, you're that's not going to work for you. But for somebody else, breath work works perfectly for them. But nothing is wrong with doing a little, let me stop and take in a few breaths. For somebody, it might be simple as shifting their posture by getting a cup of water sipping brings that calming. So what would suit your personality? Do you have a go-to song that you could use as an anchor? I am not saying in the middle of a conflict, you start singing out loud. That's not what I'm saying. It could be internal where you start repeating the lyrics in your mind. Find the anchor. For me, my anchor is redirecting some of my nervous energy by different minor touches that people won't necessarily notice. Because of course you don't want to be creepy. You remember you're trying to regain control. So for me, if you see me playing with this part of my hand like this as a pressure point, it is reminding me, Kellen, you need to reconnect. Because for some people, when they're in the middle of emotional situations, their brain could disconnect. You could completely detach, and you don't want to detach from the situation because then it will become difficult to resolve. So are you the type of person that needs to find a trigger point on your body that when tapped, this is your reminder that I need you to get grounded. I need you to begin to think clearly. And so that is a very beginning of your management strategies. Find which works for you and be willing to feel what you're feeling in your body so you know what you have to address. You can address it by naming it. And that is why I want you to do the connection of body and feelings. So that is on the first level. And I know a lot of times when we hear management of emotions, this is the level that people stay on. I want to take it up a notch by proposing another thought to you in terms of managing your emotions. And that next part of it is when you're in a high intense situation, one of the things that actually helps is by being transparent and vulnerable. Now, in that moment, you are not thinking that. You have to admit that when you're in a space where you want to protect yourself, it's easy to want to shut down. And so it seems contradictory to if it is that I want to manage my emotions that I'm going to share. No, no, no. Sometimes people honestly and sincerely don't know what they are doing to you. You'll be surprised how oblivious some people could be. And so they don't know. Your transparency could actually be what changes the situation or the dynamics of the situation simply by sharing the fact that, listen, I currently feel very overwhelmed. I currently feel like if I can handle this conversation, that vulnerability could open up the channels for more conversation. Now, this has to be done with respect and not from a place of manipulation. I'm not saying that you be transparent just because you think water more than flour. Let me bring that to international. What I could mean water more than flour. Things are gotten above what you're expecting it to be, and so you want to regain control. So you try to change the dynamics by trying to play victim. Woo! Yes. Water more than flour. That's what that means. Don't come for me in the comments about that not being what it means. So you're not using it as a form of manipulation to get things to turn in your favor. That's not what you're doing. You're being transparent because you sincerely want a proper resolution. Let people know how this is affecting you. Be careful of the accusations. I am not saying to accuse, well, you making me feel this way. In this current situation, listen, this is what I'm feeling right now. I feel very anxious. I can feel myself shaking. Would it be possible if we could just stop? Which leads to the third and final point in managing your emotions, we have to lean into the art of delay. I understand our need or our desire to want to immediately fix something. A lot of men, for some reason, tend to have that trait. You fall out with them and they immediately want you to talk to them one time. Tell me how you feel. I don't know how I feel. Give me opportunity to think about what I feel. And so this is why the art of delay has to come into play. You have to recognize that sometimes in a chat situation, your brain isn't thinking very clear. That is actually scientific. There are parts of our brain, when it is too wired, switches off. When that switches off, you are unable to reason properly. Your inability to reason properly is going to lead to you saying something that you possibly regret and you did not mean. So you have to be able to, in the middle of a chat situation, simply say, could we just take a little bit of a timeout? Could you give me a moment to go and sort my thoughts out so that I can come back and tell you how I really feel and what I really think about? My husband and I have that routine. If things becoming a lot, I say, babes, just give me a little 10-15 minutes, sometimes an hour or two. Let me sort out what it is I'm actually feeling so that when we come back, I actually have something substantial to give you, something real to give you. So we have to lean into the art of delay. When you are in this space of delay, plan your approach. Plan what's the best way to handle this. Plan what you want to communicate and how you want to communicate. So I understand our need to be immediate, but that Immediacy is a word? It is a word. That immediate response can be dangerous. So the art of delay. So simple today, managing those emotions. One simple management strategies was an anchor that you could use in the thick of a situation that can help calm you, whether it is a trigger point on your body, whether it is breath work, whether it is counting in your head, whether it is singing in your head. Please don't sing out loud. People will think you're mad. Your boss will fire you if that's the case. Was your management strategy there? Find the anchor. Figure out where you feel what you feel in your body. Acknowledge as uncomfortable and let that prompt you to want to solve it. The second thing is be transparent. Let people know what you're sincerely feeling, because it could really be what changes what is going on with you. And then the third thing is very simple. Make sure that you lean into the art of delete. I hope this has been helpful for you. If you've been tuning in to Live a Life You Love for some time and you still have not shown us in love by subscribing, please do so now. I am Kelly Theophil, your emotional intelligence coach, and this has been Live a Life You Love.